Well, hello everybody. Morgan Gecko here. We're fixing to go to an area just north of Nymphtown. Nymphtown is the TP that's on that lake in southwestern Euphoria, the lake that has the island in the middle of it that's got all the Combibos, as you can see on the map right there. And we are going up to a crater that's right up here to the north. And we're going up here for the level 1 daily mission for the day, which is to kill 50 Hiryuu. And I think there are other places that you can find these things, but for the most part they're flying around, and I don't know if you've ever tried to shoot anything that's flying, but they have a tendency to get right over the top of you, and then your avatar just starts spinning around. So we come up here. Every once in a while you'll see one of these things take to the air, but for the most part they're on the ground. And there's not a lot of them in any one space. In fact, there's, for the most part, you only see them individually. But they're easy to kill. There's one right there. And you don't have to chase them. Once you tag them, they come to you. Not unlike that. Then it's just a matter of covering enough territory to be able to add up to 50. I like to use my car. I can cover a lot of ground. They stop. I don't have to spawn and unspawn it. I believe it's more fuel efficient than what the flying vehicles are. And it's more fun. Yeah, I mean it's easier to maneuver. You don't have to worry about the undulations in the ground. I'm using the L Matrix LR30, which I really don't want to do it. It's a little too much for these guys. Probably an LR15 would be sufficient, you know, because it's only taking 2 and maybe 3 shots to kill them. And LR15 would take a few more shots, but it might actually be more economical. I'd at least go down to an LR20 if I had one. But I'm a poor boy. I'm on a budget. My wife keeps me on a pretty tight allowance. So we do what we gotta do, you know? I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know down in the comments and questions area if you have anything that you'd like to share with the group. Any suggestions that you might make as to where to find Hiryuu. You know, there might be a better space out there. I find a spot and I tend to stick with it just because I'm comfortable. I've changed into a little more casual attire so I can work on my tan, you know. You have to be careful here to not range too far. There are RMAX to the south of us. Seems to me there's something to the west. I think it might be robots. And I know there's something to the north too. We'll find out. I'm bound to make it up there. There's another young. Get the old codex out and we'll keep an eye on that too. We may be able to make it close enough that we'll just stay here and finish out the bar. Collect some skills and move up to the next level, you know. At that Nymph Town TP, I never know what to emphasize. Do you emphasize the T or the P? You know, because TP is either an Indian tent or toilet paper, one of the two. Let's just say the service center. The Nymptown Service Center used to be a pretty hopping place. The area around here was pretty good for mining. And, oh, there's another one. Easy there, car. It's hopping around. I think I got stuck on a root. But as I was saying, in the old days, it was a lot more of an adventure to go to the oil rig. It was not an easy thing to do. There weren't any teleporters that were anywhere close to it. So you either used your teleporter chip to get there, or you had to run. I don't believe they had any vehicles back then. If there were, I would have been using one, and I remember I had to run. There were two ways you could go. You could take a route that came through Nymptown, and you go on south to the coast, and then go across the coast until you were south of the rig. And there was an outpost between the rig area and the coast. And should you get killed in the rig area, you know, because there were some odds and ends Aatrox in there, you know, besides the Ubers that were guarding the rig. And you'd strip down so that it was obvious that you weren't going to the rig or approaching the rig with any bad intentions. You know, you were making yourself vulnerable so that anybody with just about any kind of weapon was going to be able to hurt you. And you'd sneak up on the rig and you'd announce yourself, and then you'd ask if it was okay to approach, and they might let you come and watch. Sometimes they'd let you try to collect some oil and actually keep it. Sometimes they'd let you collect the oil for a while and then they'd kill you and steal it, which wasn't very nice. But anyway, that was the route that came through Nymphtown. And between the people that were making a run for the rig and the people that were out there mining, and you know, there were some mobs around there. You'd see a fair number of people at the edge of the service center. The other route was to the west of the rig, and those were the people that came from Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks was north of the rig quite a bit, and from the Twin Peaks you'd run east to the coast. I don't remember if there was a river there or an estuary or exactly what, but there was water there. And once you hit the water, then you ran south till you came to the ocean, and then you went east from there. It was west from Twin Peaks, and then south to the ocean, and then you'd run back east, and you'd have to go through a couple of areas that had quite a few mobs, and so sometimes you'd have to swim offshore there to keep the mobs from getting you. But anyway, you'd wind up at that outpost that was south of the rig. It was an interesting thing to do. It was great sport. And west of that outpost, there was a strip of land right there along the coast, and maybe 50 or 100 meters deep, and the mining was quite good there. I used to mine there a lot. Of course, I was a mining noob, and it didn't really take much of a claim to impress me, but still, you were pretty much guaranteed of finding something if you were willing. There's one on the fly. I don't know if I hit him on the fly or not, but I hit him in a vulnerable spot. That's a joke. What was I saying? Where do you come from? But the mining was pretty good along that spot. The only problem was that sometimes you would do well and if you were a ways from the outpost, then you'd have to carry all those ores and in matters and fruit and whatever to the outpost to be able to put it in storage so that you could run back up to Twin, or yeah, it had to be Twin or PA to be able to sell it. As I recall, Twin and PA were the two main areas of commerce, you know, where you could stand and hawk your wares, you know. This one will make number 30. So you can get out there and tag it and then run back to your vehicle and wait for it to come up to meet you, as if you're saving any time that way. You are saving some time though if you're able to catch several of them on your radar. You can run to the farthest one, tag it, and then see, like this one right here. This would have been a good one to run up there and to tag the one that I just shot, then start killing the one that I had just killed. And by the time I got through killing it, the further one would have been right there near me. You don't have to run as much that way. And it's breaking the monotony too, you know. But the routine in this area is just drive around. There you go. Which one ever gets to me first gets to die first. But you drive around with your eye, one eye on the road and one eye on the radar, and you look for those red dots. You also have to keep an eye out for mobs that aren't what you're looking for, because because you might run up on some larger ones. Yeah, where'd that other red dot? Or she blows. One thing you find is that when you start hunting an area like this, you might not find very many of them right at the start. But as you begin to kill them, then more will spawn. You know, they'll spawn a little bit more dense. I guess you just hope that that they start spawning more dense before you kill your last one. Otherwise, you don't get to take advantage of that increased spawn. Ignore the blue line at the bottom of the screen that pops up occasionally. I originally recorded this without narration, and it's good practice for me to narrate, and it's not, well, I would hope that it's more interesting for y'all if you've got something to listen to besides just watching me drive all over creation looking for birds on the ground. But in order to see how much time we got left, I have to move my cursor. And that brings up that info at the bottom of the screen. And I'm using OBS to record this, and it records everything that is on the screen of the monitor that I'm playing Entropia on. So if you see a blue line, it's because I see a blue line. If I hadn't been so lazy to begin with, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'm just hoping you're around still to hear this conversation. Is it even a conversation if you're not here to hear it? Is that what they call a soliloquy? I don't know. I'll have to Google that. If I'm going to use that word, I ought to know what it means. $47. All right. The end is nigh. If I can get one more. There's one. Bring that bad boy down. That guy's almost down. See what I mean about... Oh no! Some bitch. Fortunately, there's a little outpost out here. And I might just be able to use my TP chip. Yep, that's the chip right there. I don't use the chip near as much as I used to. In the old days, if you weren't using your feet, you had to use a teleporter chip in order to get around. Ha! How about that? Right on the money. And my car, yeah, there it is. With any luck, your car will still be where you parked it. One coin. One daily token. You don't have much to show for this hunt. There we go.